All right, welcome back, everybody, to the It's Bigger Than Me podcast. I am so excited for this guest today. And, a lot of these guests that I'm bringing on here, a lot of them I met on social media first. And then, at some point, most of them, not all, we've met in real life. But, Mandy, actually, I don't even know, we haven't even met in real life yet. It's just been on social media. And so I'm over
No.
here like thinking, wait a second, it's been that years. So, Mandy and I
Mhm.
connected on social media. We had a little bit of time where we even worked together. And this woman, if you want somebody that can turn your Instagram around and working just magic for you, she's your gal. And she'll tell you all about what she does when it comes to social media, all the things. And she's a hoot to follow. I am always laughing, always like, she is the most animated person ever, purely entertaining. And just like, she'll throw out some stuff there. I'm like, ooh, that's a really, like, that's getting me to think. So, anyways, she is amazing. Recently just became a mama. And we're going to be diving in today on just some of these recent life changes and what that looks like. Because, so often the Lord will bring us through these big changes. And it's like, okay, well, now what do I do next? And now,
Mhm.
and Mandy's done such an amazing job just sharing her story openly, vulnerably online. I love her transparency. But she's going to tell you a little bit more about herself, and then we're going to dive right into the meat of things. So, Mandy, welcome to the show.
Yay, thank you so much for having me. I love just being with you, talking with you, hearing your voice. So it's a pleasure to be here. I'm just excited to chat more with you, my friend.
Yes, no, I love it. Now, her, like, what she can do, this lady, pretty much whatever she touches is gold, whether it's makeup, whether it's her social media. I mean, tell us all the things, Mandy, please.
You're making me feel so good about myself.
I'm just sharing what's coming from my heart. So good. I'm glad. You should feel good.
Love you. Okay. Well, like Miss Molly said, my name is Mandy Emerson. I am an Instagram coach and strategist. So I primarily focus on helping female entrepreneurs grow their business, make more money using effective Instagram strategies. I also just became a mom over the summer. My son was actually born 2 months early because he was just too excited to be in the world. So that journey was interesting to say the least. But really I had God's peace over me the entire time. Actually my pastor's wife, who I'm very close to at my church, she was saying, you're either like handling this really well or you are literally about to pop with emotion, with everything. And I'm like, no, I've had God's peace over my life this entire time. But that experience and becoming a mom, running a business from home, and my business really is only, gosh, 2.5 years old, because I took my first client in August of 2020. So I'm a pandemic business. But really it is still in its infancy, and growing it along with growing my family has been a wild ride, but one that I've been anticipating for a long, long time. And really why I started my business in the first place, so that I would have something that I love doing, that I can also provide for my family, and be able to be home with my family as well, and watch my sweet little kiddo, and hopefully more kiddos in the future, grow and become amazing little humans. So I think that's like everything in a nutshell.
I love that. I love that. And it's like, I mean, I want to talk about, you said something very interesting that, I mean, we could go in a million directions with this,
Mhm.
but I feel like this can be relatable to pretty much anybody in a sense. You said that your pastor's wife said you're either about to lose it or you're doing real well. Talk about, like, how did you even get to the point of having so much peace over your life, considering, having your son 2 months early, being a
Yeah,
preemie, like that is a very big deal. There's a
totally.
lot that comes with that. So
Yeah.
that like even maybe explain a little bit of that process or whatever comes up for you, but then that piece that comes over it, because I feel like more people need to hopefully step into understanding that piece is so amazing. But how did you even get there? That would be a great thing to expand on.
Yeah. This is probably one of my favorite things to talk about, because this is just a testimony of how good God is, even in the moments of fear and worry and the unknown. So I was admitted for preeclampsia. I had a horrible headache one morning and it just would not go away. And my swelling was unreal. Like if you go back to some of my videos in April, I mean, just April this year, I was swollen. And my friends would be like, no, you're making a human. I'm like, no, I don't think you understand. This is not the typical pregnancy weight. So I was just taking it as like, I'm going into my third trimester. This is all normal, so to speak. And then the headache came on, and when I was admitted, because this headache would not go away and it's absolutely throbbing, my blood pressure was also over 200, and they were like, "You have preeclampsia, and we're going to admit you, try and keep you pregnant for the next 3 weeks," because I was just 31 weeks. So, and the only cure for preeclampsia is delivery. And just hearing that, I was still, I mean, my go-to is always on my knees in prayer. Like that's my go-to for anything that happens in my life, whether it's good, especially the bad. I mean, I think it should be pretty even. The good stuff we need to thank God for, but even the bad stuff, just like, God, take over. I'm laying this at your feet. I've stopped praying for like, please don't let this happen necessarily. I
Mm.
recently saw something about how the story in the Bible about Daniel in the lion's den. Even though God didn't necessarily spare Daniel going into the lion's den, he still spared Daniel in the lion's den, right? Like he still spares us in these moments, or he's with us in these really tough moments and he brings us through it. Is when I know it sounds much easier said than done. And quite a few people have been like, I bet that season was just so hard for you. Yes, of course it was watching my son in this like little cube with these wires, but there was never a moment where I was like, absolutely broken to pieces. And I feel like my sisters in Christ, and whoever is even listening to this, that if you're a believer in Christ and you know his power, you know his magnitude, you know what he's capable of, it's going to make sense to you. To the non-believer, they're like, you're crazy. You don't care as a mother. Like I've even heard that too. Like, do you even care? Of course I care. I just know that my God is mighty. I just know that my God is capable and my God is good. So it all just came down to putting my trust in him, laying that at the cross, laying that at his feet. Like, God, I'm giving this up to you. You're the only one that can be in control of this. There is literally nothing that I can do in this moment other than just surrender to you. So, I mean, that sounds simple. And maybe to some that sounds really hard. Like, how can I give this up to God? Right? I want to be in control, but there's literally nothing. My body was reacting to, and they say that this is super common. It's actually really common for first time moms to get preeclampsia because it's an inflammatory thing on our bodies. But there was literally nothing I could do. So why not necessarily waste time, but why give up to fear? Why give myself to this like anxiety spiral when there isn't anything I can do but just put my faith in God and have that peace over me and just be. So even when the nurses and the doctors came in, they're like, "Hey, C-section time." I was in the hospital for 2 days before they were like, "C-section, we're going. Eli needs to come out." And it's just the best plan of action. I was like, "Okay, let's go. Whatever needs to happen, sunroof exit, let's do this." And I mean, I can't even take credit for that terminology. My OB said that because she was the one actually saying like, "I just want you to be aware of swelling or anything like that because it's common." So she was the one who educated me on that. But I mean, from being admitted to the hospital to those doctors coming in saying it's C-section time to, being on the table. I mean, I'm singing worship music I was just so calm when he came out, when he was in the NICU. I mean, there's moments, of course, that I cried because I was tired. I cried because I was tired and I was worn down and I was just ready for my baby to be home. But there was never a moment where I lost my faith in what God is capable of. So it came down to that simple but oh so powerful thought that my God is capable and he's going to take care of us. I hate to even say it, but even when things might not go our way, his plans are always better. His plans are always right and perfect for us. So it really just came down to surrendering it at his feet and just letting him take over from there. And he did.
Gosh, that is so like, I hope that people are listening to what you're saying because there's probably so many being like, I don't get it. Like, how could you be calm? How could you say that? Or even some people being like, yeah, you're just throwing your Christianese on it, right? Like, oh, God can, God can, God can. But I will tell you guys, like when I was like, she documents everything. And I love that about you. You get to show people into your life. And I think it's so amazing, so powerful. I love doing the same thing too, because it's like, it's fun. Like, come on the journey, let's go. And you were
Right.
so open through this entire thing. And not
Mm.
once did I feel like any like anxiety or anything from you. And it really just comes down to a decision. You either
Mhm.
trust him or you don't. And
Yeah.
when we want to take it into our control and it's not happening the way we want, that's not putting
Yeah.
faith in him. It's faith in what we're trying to control
Yeah.
over whatever that situation may be.
Yeah.
And of course, when it comes to giving birth, moms usually have a plan, they have all these things. And that's what my mom friends tell me because I have not had a kid yet. But the older I get, the more I'm just like, I spent so many years stressing my life away for
Mhm.
what? And so
Yeah.
to hear your story of like very, I mean, it would totally been justified as to like, oh my gosh, I'm freaking out. And this is why, da da da. And the whole time I'm like, wow, she is so like calm about it because
Mhm.
no matter what, he's always going to use it for the good, no matter what, even if it doesn't make sense. And out of that, you get to be a miracle story. And from what you're sharing right now, literally, I hope that somebody that was drawn to this podcast or watching this on YouTube, wherever you're watching it, like you are getting set free of, you know what, you're trying so hard to hold on to things,
Yeah.
but you need to let go. And so I
Right.
think that's so like beautiful because at the end of the day, like, I mean, he chose to be able to put this baby, like have this baby's made in your body. He's
Yeah.
going to do whatever he wants to do with it. He's come out and now he's healthier now more than ever.
Yeah.
But I think it's such a powerful part of the story, of like just that piece because it's a choice. You either have it or you don't. And either way, it's just like, what are we going to do from there?
Yeah.
Side note, love the sunroof exit comment. I think that is absolutely genius. I'm like, if I have a oh gosh, now I'm blanking. If I have a
C-section.
C-section, wow, I'm like, where did that go? There it is. If I had a C-section, totally being like, yep, sunroof exit. I mean, that
Sunroof
is
exit.
hilarious. I was like, good job on that verbiage right
Yes.
there. That's gold.
That was my OB. I have to give her all the credit. Dr. Kufal, shout out to you.
I love that. I love that. So, with everything that you shared in the beginning, with all the businesses and different things that you have going on and what you love being able to help women do, now you're in motherhood. Now you're seeing it
Mm.
from probably a lot of these women that you have helped and are helping, are
Yeah.
mothers. How do
Yeah.
I do it all? How are you finding that harmony? I don't like saying
Mm.
balance anymore. I like saying harmony because I know you're a singer, you get it. It's like there
Totally.
is no balance really. It's like there's just different spikes, different peaks and valleys, and you go with
Yeah.
it. So, how do you find the harmony now with your growing family and being able to, pour into your business, which I also know that you love?
Yeah. 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 It really comes down to prioritizing the things that matter and the things that don't. Even more so, prioritizing the things that only I can do. And this is kind of a stance that I've had or an opinion that I've had even before baby is I'm such a big fan of delegation. I'm such a big fan of hiring contractors or hiring help, people that can do something better than you can, because there are. As much as I love, like, for instance, I love video editing, but I know that there are people that can do it better than me and faster than me, freeing up my time to do something that only I can do. As business owners, we are the thought leaders in our businesses. Like, nobody knows our business the way that we do. There's nobody that can replicate us within our own business. Obviously, there are going to be people that we hire that get really close to that, which we can only hope, because in my case, I mean, I had a really great assistant. I still have. She's still with me, but my assistant that I brought on probably like a year before I even got pregnant, she knew my business so well that when I got admitted to the hospital, I let her know, hey, so change of plans. I'm here. I'm going to need you to just take over. We didn't, and there's so many learning things from this. Like, there's so many things that I can put into place, and I can't be dependent just on organic traffic. I need to put, certain things, and we can get to that if we do. But one thing that I learned is her having some kind of system set in place that if I were unavailable, she can take over and the business still runs, and it doesn't just stop in its tracks. And I had been preparing months before Eli was meant to be born. Well, I guess he was always meant to be here May 3rd. Like, that was always God's intention, even though I didn't know that. He knew that, but I was still planning months in advance of that. But really, I think the biggest thing that probably just got solidified for me, and I'm really thankful that this is something that I taught even before, because I would hate to go back and be like, hey, by the way, clients of mine or members of my course, hi, I was totally wrong, and I'm going back and I'm going to teach you something different. Like,
Wow.
I'm so glad that what I was teaching already of delegate the things that you do not need to be doing. Like you do not need to be filtering through your emails, simple things like that. You do not need to be like doing the graphic design on all of your carousel posts. You don't need to be doing that type of stuff. There are things that other people can do so much better for you while you focus on the things, first of all, that really move the needle in your business and stuff that is just a waste of time. It just becomes very clear that stuff matters, that stuff doesn't. This stuff takes up too much of my time. I got to delegate it to somebody else.
I love that. I mean, that is so true for so many different things.
Yeah.
And it's like the power of delegation. I can hear in the back of my mind of people like, well, what if we can't afford that? Well, let's
Mhm.
find a way where you can afford that, because it's like otherwise you are always going to just feel like, oh, what I'm doing isn't enough. And this definitely by no means we're trying to say like what you're doing is not enough, but like you
Sure.
have to see like what kind of life do you want to live and what do you got to do to get there? I mean, period. Like that's just like the simplest you can put it.
Yeah.
So where does your business need to be at? You know, I have a lot of coaches that come on here, a lot of network marketers that come on here. It's like, where do you got to go? And it's a decision of like, okay,
Mhm.
where do I need to be? So then I can, delegate these things. And we
Yeah.
were even talking before we came on, even just as growing a family, sharing that my husband and I, we haven't started a family yet. It's going to happen at some point. Right now, the birthing and the growing and the all that is happening in our businesses, which I love. So I'll be a little bit older of a mom, but at the same time, I'm over it. Who cares? Forget
Yeah.
society's timeline.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, Lord, if I would have had kids like a decade ago when I wanted to, I wouldn't have been
So
able to do
different.
anything. And now that I'm older, I'm like, my mindset's like, I can bring my kids with me. I can
Yeah.
hire a nanny. I can have
Yeah.
two nannies, have somebody be
Yeah.
able to do whatever I need to do around the house. Like, don't
Mhm.
like doing laundry. Are you gonna, cook, clean, whatever? And so
Yeah.
then you can really focus in. I even know people who like hire out laundry services where then they like fold it, clean it, fold it, bring it back. You just got to put
Yeah.
it in the drawers. Like they have made things so automated. Instacart, get your groceries right to your door.
Totally.
I'm definitely a fan of like, I got to do some normal human stuff. So I do like moseying around in the grocery store, being like, I want to
For
grab my
sure.
own things, but having the options, having the choices. And so I love
Yes.
that you said that, because imagine if you went into the hospital, you didn't have your assistant, you would have been like, up a creek, don't know what I'm going to do. But you had that all set in place ahead of time before
Totally.
something like this happened, where then you had to really utilize
Yeah.
that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And kind of going back to what you said of I can't afford it yet. I know that's like the biggest objection that a lot of business owners that are one woman shows that they have. And I would challenge that thought process of is it that you can't afford it, or could it be that you can't afford not to? And just think about like the growth that you can have when there's two people working at something versus one. It might seem like a slow start in the beginning, and quite frankly, you may and probably won't make as much during that time period that you've hired them. It's gonna pay off. I remember when I hired my first assistant, the first 2 months like probably broke even in profit, and by the third month, and I'm not saying that this is for everybody, but by the third month she was paying her own salary. What she was helping me accomplish in my business, it was able to pay then her salary and then some. So I wasn't like out of pocket for anything. So it really, I would challenge that thought process of you can't afford not to. Growth is not always from a place of you can afford it and you can
Yes.
um right, like you can pay for it. It sometimes it comes from I need to grow faster. I need to make more money in this business or get the momentum going faster. And that can be achieved by getting help. It doesn't need to be this like full-time 40 hours a week contractor. It can literally be 10 extra hours a week that you get from this person, and it could completely change your business, and then you just grow from there. So it's like baby steps. I had that idea of like I can't afford to hire somebody. Well, you're not going to pay them or bring them on for 40 hours. Why do we think that we have to go that big? We
Hmm.
don't. It's just like the little things. Have them take that off your plate so you can again do the things that only you can do because you're just so great at it.
I love that. Yeah, that is so, it's so key. And this is like a little, I don't want to totally veer off the topic, but it's like what you just said is if you hire somebody, we automatically think the mouse 40 hours a week. Just like if we
Mm,
start like a new business or, we get into network marketing, we just get
mm,
started and it's like, no one's asking for 40 hours a week. Like in the pockets of your time, what can you do here and there? And some
yeah.
people are literally looking for when you want to delegate they're literally only looking for pockets of the time type of work for them. They're not looking for a
Mhm.
full-time salary, right? And then
Right,
it's something you can always grow into. But it's
right.
so funny how our mind goes there of like, oh, I
Mhm.
need to look a certain way, feel a certain way, be in a certain space, all the
Yeah.
things. And it's like,
No.
there's so much fluidity in business right now of doing it on the go, doing it from your car, doing it from wherever your bed because you have your phone, like, and other people wanting to do the same thing too. And you never know that your delegation could be that side hustle or that additional income that somebody needs to actually get out
Mhm.
of something they hate, and that could grow into something or spark ideas. So
Yeah,
I would love to actually go along the line of thinking bigger. Because
yeah.
obviously, when you first started your business, what you do is amazing. Like, I mean, hands down, like, whenever I think of, I had a gal the other day that I used to work with back when I did coaching. She's like, Molly, like, I'm ready to hire you again. Right now, I want some stuff. And I'm like, I don't do that anymore. However, I have somebody that does. And so I love referring people. And so I'm like, Mandy's your girl. Like, if I needed anything Instagram, it's her. So go to her. She really is honestly the best, y'all. Like, seriously. But like the thinking bigger part, because obviously from when you first started to now where you are to where will you have set in place, like talk about a little bit about that progression, because so often people get stuck of like,
Mm,
okay, well, I don't know where to go from here, or they're thinking only of what their circumstances or what their bank account says. And there is
mhm.
a leap and a risk and, reward also as well when it comes to being an entrepreneur. I'd
Yeah.
love to hear how that progression was for you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, I took on my first like one-on-one coaching client in August of 2020. And then by the end of 2020, I had 15 one-on-one coaching clients and I loved it. I did, however, discover within like 6 months into 2021, I was exhausted. Coaching is such a blessing, but it also can be very tiring, especially when you love what you do, you pour into it, it can be really draining sometimes. And I it just came from a place of like, I have to work smarter, not harder. And in order to scale, I did quickly learn that coaching one-on-one wasn't scalable, first of all. And I wanted to be able to scale. And the idea of having my own business always stemmed from I want to be able to have something of my own that I can do from home so that I can be present with my children. It was always the goal. Not necessarily the money side of it, but now the income side is I'm not after income, I'm after the freedom that it provides and what it can do for my family. So it was more so like, how can I do these two things of scaling my business bigger, serving more people, impacting people's lives more, or doing that on a bigger scale, but then also having an income that can benefit go towards my family as well. Um, I'll just be so transparent. My husband has a wonderful job and we could live just fine off of his income, his benefits, but it wasn't necessarily, so it's never really been about that. It's been about having something for myself that then I can impact others. So then that one-on-one coaching turned into group coaching, into specific groups of people that are similar in their seasons of life, their businesses, what they're doing. And then that turned into reels then came on the scene. I think in 20, was it 2020 that I think they came in
I think
2020 because
so. And
then,
then 2021, they really took off.
oh my God, they exploded. TikTok was already on the scene, but I didn't even go there because there was just something about TikTok that I was like, no, this isn't for me. Even though it was identical to what Instagram is doing with Reels, but I just always knew that my place was Instagram. So then 2021, it was in my wheelhouse. Creating reels and doing them for your specific business. What I've learned is my superpower of all of this is content creation for a specific business. But how I got to that place of learning my superpower was not being afraid to try something different and just going for it. So it turned from one-on-one coaching to now group coaching. So I got a little bit of my time back, still like a little bit exhausted, but not as bad because it still filled me up to be able to have an impact on these people's life. And they were trusting me. And that still to this day means so much to me. And then having a course that like streamlined things. And then it turned into a much bigger course of the four proven steps that I have created in a framework of how to use Instagram effectively that doesn't have to do with trending audios or pointing weird on the screen or anything like that. But really what led me to this place was just not being afraid and just going for it. and also having the mindset behind it that I can do this. I'm going to figure it out. Hello, Google. Hello, YouTube. Like, how do I do this? I just wasn't afraid to just go for it because what did I have to lose at the end of the day? Nothing. The answer is nothing. Spoiler alert. So it just came down to, I want this. My why was so strong and is so strong. I want something for myself to be able to provide for my family, but also be present and not miss the important moments of my son and my husband and sweet little Moses, my puppy. I don't want to miss anything. There's a video that I have up on my reels right now. I was filming content and my mom was downstairs, and all of a sudden my mom gasps. If you haven't seen it, you have to go watch it because it's like the perfect. I was able to film my reaction of like, what's going on? Because I hear my mom gasp with my son downstairs, and I'm like, what's going on? And she's like, he just rolled over. And I'm like screaming, running out of the frame down the stairs. And all the while my phone is like set up and it films for the next like 20 minutes because I'm downstairs, not miss like seeing him roll over for the first time because I will miss nothing. I don't want to miss a thing. So I really do think it comes down to like having a really strong why of why you're doing things, what you're getting into your business for, and holding on to that for dear life. It has to be so deep and strong. It really cannot just be like, I want to make money.
Right.
Why do you want to make money? To provide for my family. Why do you want to provide for your family? Because I want my children to be like, I believe they call it the 7 levels of why, or maybe it's 6. Whatever, go 7, go the extra, go the extra one. But it's like 7 levels of why. And every single time you give an answer, ask, well, why do you want to do this? And then you will get to your true reason. That's honestly what I feel like has propelled me to where I am today.
I mean, it's so funny because the more I'm like, I hear about, I mean, we've heard this all the time in business, the why, the why, the why, the why, the
Yeah.
why. And it's like, yes, you got to start there. But so often people will trade the why for the how,
Mm,
stuck on the how.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then if they don't get the how, their why doesn't matter. When really it should be, I cannot put food on the table. I got to do this by all means necessary. However
Mhm.
late I got to stay up, however early I got to get up, whatever it is I got to do to go make it happen.
Yeah.
And there's so many people that don't have that. And again, they're trading the why for the how.
Yeah.
And, I used to kind of be like a 50-50 on that. I'm like, oh, I need
Mm,
the how, I need the how. And the more mature I get in my relationship with the Lord, I'm like, Lord, actually, I don't really like, you're going to give me the how whenever. And I need to stop stressing as to why I don't have it now because I'm
yeah.
focusing on the wrong thing. Because
Yeah.
when I focus on the who I need to become, the how's going to reveal itself, the why is going to be rooted, and we're going to get to work and we're going to make it
Totally.
happen. And I was at the gym, I think it's actually yesterday, and I was just like on the
4:30 in the
leg
morning.
press. Oh, my early morning, yes, dark and early. I love it. Honestly, best time to go to the gym. Nobody messes around, and
Nobody's there.
we just go for it. Um, but I'm sitting there doing like legs, and I'm on the leg press, and it was one of those. Okay, let's lift a little bit more weight today because honestly, I love starting my day by doing hard things, like things I
Mhm.
wouldn't like. Like, okay, let's go push some weight. Let's like tear the muscles a little bit. Let's get in there. Let's get tired. Like all things that people are like, why would you want to do that? I just want to get up and
Mhm.
drink coffee and chill. The day's going to be hard enough as it is. But when you start the day or start something by going after something that is going to challenge you mentally, physically, maybe even emotionally, like it sets you up for being like, all right, come at me, see what happens. Like, let's go after it. And I
Yeah.
love what you said when it came to just kind of figuring out how you gave us the progression of your programs. Went on Google, went on YouTube, went on all the things to figure it
Yeah.
out. Like we have so many free resources out there and so many businesses, honestly, people can create. Or
Mhm.
you're in a business right now, coaching, network marketing, or maybe you want to create something of your own, whatever. And you can literally figure out how to do that for free. It's a matter of do you have the drive behind it as
Yeah.
to why you want to do it, and then just go figure it out from there. And
Totally.
so often we'll be like, oh, I don't have this or I don't have that. And we're always focused on
Yeah.
what we don't have rather than focus on
Yeah.
what we do have. And that's one reason
Mhm.
I really just love you. Like you always focus on, okay, well, how can we rather than how can't we?
Yeah.
Because like it doesn't serve you to think about how you can't, like you're always just going to stay stuck.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if you have anything you want to say on that.
Oh, yes. Oh gosh, yes. I mean, it really is mind over matter. My husband is probably like the strongest mental person that doesn't come out right, but you know what I'm trying to say. He just has like the strongest mental toughness of anybody that I know. So learning the mind over matter like it is powerful just in your life, in your business, in everything. When you have a goal in mind, or when you're trying to build something, or when you're trying to do something, all it can take is just you saying, I'm going to do this. So for the last like week and a half, so I guess week and a half, I started this, was that 2019, September 18th. I It's so funny that we're talking about you working out at 4:30 a.m. That sounds awful to me, but I've always had a love-hate relationship with working out, and it's just always been a struggle in my life. And when I had my son, and I was really thankful that I was healthy enough to be able to come out of that emergency C-section pretty much unscathed. I mean, there were times where, I could only like lift myself from my arms, and I do not have strong arms. It became very apparent. And I told my husband, like, remind me the next time that I don't want to go work out, this moment where I can't lift myself very well out of this hospital bed to go to the bathroom because I can't do anything with my core. Right. Like, and then it just became so apparent of, we always say that we would die for our kids, we'll die for our family. And I will never forget when I read, yeah, but will you live for them? Will you
Mm.
get healthy for them? Will you work out for them? And if my husband's listening to this, he's going to be like, really? Yes, really. Just in case you're hearing me, it's true. Like, I do hate working out, but I do know how important it is that I have a healthy lifestyle so that I can run around with Eli, so that I can live as long, God willing, as I'm meant to. And it's a healthy, happy life. But really what it comes down to is just like mind over matter, telling yourself, like, I am going to do this, and I'm going to start my day with this. Period. And then there's no discussion, there's no negotiation. So September 18th, I said, I'm just going to go down. Our basement is where we have all of our workout stuff. I'm just going to go down there, and I'm just going to do the 12-3-30 thing on the treadmill, where you put it up to, you put it up to, I'm not there yet because dang, it's hard. Incline is 12, um, miles per hour is 3 for 30 minutes.
Oof.
I've probably gotten up to like 2.7 miles per hour at 9. We're getting there. But I've done it every single day for the last 10 days now, because it's September 28th when we're recording this. And it's because I've not given myself the opportunity to argue my way out of it, or even allow the enemy to give me some kind of reason why I shouldn't do it. I'm just mind over matter. I'm going down there. We're doing the thing. And I kind of bribe myself a little bit because I have a desk where I can put my computer and I can work just like a little bit, because I really love what I do. So I love to work at the same time. Should I be lifting heavy weights? Yes, Molly. Yes, I should. We'll get there. This is like baby steps. But it really just comes down to mind over matter. It's telling yourself, I am going to do this, and that's it. And the other thing that you can do for yourself, this is a really great little embodiment trick, is thinking about the person that you want to be in 5, 10 years, or even a year from now. Thinking about the best version of yourself. What would that person say? Or what would that best version of yourself do? And the answer is going to be so clear. Like, the best version of myself is going to be working out, has a healthy routine, eats healthy, goes out with her son, and does all these things. So would that best version of myself go downstairs and work out? Yes, she would. Okay, go do it. And that's it. No arguing. Don't even let your brain even say or convince you of anything otherwise. The mind over matter, it can be such a game changer in all aspects of your life. So you're 4:30 a.m., girl. It's probably even earlier than that. Don't you wake up at like 3?
I mean, I will tell you, yes, I actually wake up earlier than that. But I will tell you is that I know it's a season. It's not going to last forever.
Sure.
And it's one of those where it's like because we don't have, kids or anything, and our businesses are our babies, it's like we honestly at this point, I'm like, I'm taking advantage of
Yeah.
all the like, when do I want to get up? When do I want to go to sleep?
Yeah.
I get up and I do my devotions first, then I go to the gym. So spiritual battle first, then physical battle next, and then we got the rest of the day.
Yeah.
But it's one of those where, I mean, I had moments where I'm like, I don't want to work out. I just want to snuggle next to my husband. He literally just crawled in bed 30 minutes ago because he's a night owl and I'm a morning person.
Mm-hmm.
And there's times where that wins. And then I'm just like, oh, I really should have done that. But I'm like, whatever, just no shaming. We move on. I
Yeah.
didn't always wake up super, super early. It was a progression of, like you said, where do I envision myself 5, 10 years from now? of course, having a family or whatever, well, how do I become the best mom? Well, focus on yourself right now and be so selfish with your time and be
Yeah.
like, okay, Lord, what do you have for me? And be
Mhm.
so like hungry for that, that you're going to
Yeah.
be the best mom when you get there. You don't have to worry about all these things of, am I going to be good enough? Like, I know I'm going to have a learning curve. I know
Mhm.
there's going to be things where I'm like, oh gosh, like once I have kids, there's probably going to be like, okay, do I like the way that I look? Probably not. Do I like this? Probably not. Like there's going to be a
Mm.
whole new slew of things.
Yeah.
But the working on that mental toughness, just like you said, you're making a decision, you're going for it. You do the best at what you have that day. And if some days it falls a little short, we're not
Right.
shaming ourselves. It's like,
Right.
okay, just pick back up tomorrow. It's
Yeah.
totally fine. And so, like, I just feel like so many, actually, just whoever's listening, this male or female, it doesn't even matter. Like, stop the whole comparing and shaming. Like, just
Mhm.
start today as like ground zero, day one.
Yeah.
Like, what does that look like for you?
Yeah.
And like you said, stop talking yourself out of it. Stop
Mhm.
listening to voices in your mind that are likely the enemy or even your flesh being like, not today.
Yeah.
It's easier just to go sit and watch some Netflix rather than, get into my Bible or watch this or build
Yeah.
my business or how can I, whatever, plan for the future. So
Mhm.
I just love that because the whole theme of this really is like you make intentional decisions and
Yeah.
you go with it. You're not leaving this room for wishy-washy.
Right.
And so many people leave the room for that gray area because I mean
Mm.
it's normalized, let's be honest. The ones
Totally.
that are very black and white, here's what I'm doing. Sometimes we can be seen as whatever. You can fill in the blank with whatever word and
Totally.
characteristic that you want, but it's like
Yeah.
you have to know what you want, especially in a world of a lot of opportunity and choices,
Mhm.
and then be able to just go for it and see what
Yeah.
happens. And so you've done an amazing job at that, and I love
Thanks.
this. It's so this is
Yes.
so good. Is there anything as we wrap up that you would love to leave us with? Because we
Yeah.
could literally be on this for hours,
I
and just so
know.
appreciate all your wisdom today. This is so good.
Yes. I have to say, I feel like I've had a lot of growth in the last year when it comes to business, obviously becoming pregnant, priorities changing, but also just like my relationship in Christ and focusing on the things that matter and the things that don't. And if those that are listening take anything away from this episode, first of all, prayer is so powerful, but also asking God to reveal things to you. When you ask Him that question, getting like the holy bumps, like the goosebumps, but like the holy bumps, like, don't you ever get those sometimes where you're like, I'm at the right
Oh
place at the
yeah.
right time? I'm saying what God wants me to say.
Oh yeah.
When you ask Him to reveal things to you, or God, make it known to me what you need me to remove from my life, or what you need me to focus on, or where should my attention be, whatever that is. And there's a lot of things that I have stopped doing or paid attention to. Like, I can't even tell you the last time that I've listened even to secular music.
Mm.
I've only listened to K-Love and Christian music. Even the music that I have going on in the background, it's usually like instrumental. It's Christian music. I've just realized that the enemy is at work in so many different ways, in like commercials and movies and music and just everything that we have in this world. He's just at work, like in the most sneaky of ways, but also just in plain sight. And I've my eyes have been open to that, and now that I see it, I can't unsee it. And I don't got time for that. I am here for such a short time, and my flesh is expiring second by second. I know that sounds crazy, but and a little bit gross. My body is decaying before my very eyes. I don't got time to be messing with things that are not bringing me closer to God, that are doing things to bless my family, to bless others, and so that I can be my very best version of myself. So the thing I want to leave everybody with would be that prayer is powerful. Ask God to reveal things to you. Ask God to take things away from you that don't need to be in your life, and He will. And honestly, you will not miss them. As much as I love music and singing, I don't miss that secular music, or I don't miss certain TV shows that I really loved watching before. I don't miss it because I'm so fixed on Christ and what He has for my life. Like, I'm not missing out. People are like, "Oh, you'll miss out," and I don't want to be left in the dark. Trust me when I say you will literally not care. It just will not be even a blip on your radar. So prayer is powerful. Give it up to God and ask Him to reveal things to you, and have Him just direct your path the way that He's always meant to.
Well, you can't be left in the dark when you're sitting in the light. So it's like,
Amen.
come on. Yeah,
Amen. Come
I hear
on.
you on that. Like I listen to Christian music all the time, and when I listen to other songs, I'm like, I hear the enemy even in the beat, and I'm like, I hear the seducing and the beat. And that's what everybody says. I'm listening to the beat. And I'm like, yeah, I've been there. And you're gonna let that hold you into all this demonic whatever. And so TV shows too. I remember watching a show and I see a TV series. And then
Mhm.
I instantly turned it off, being like, I can literally physically and emotionally feel my mind shifting to the
Mhm.
darkness. I was like, we're done. I was like, and be sensitive and aware. Like, be
Mhm.
sensitive and aware to your point. Ask for it and you
Yeah.
shall receive. And then
Yeah.
you can't go back from it, because now there's going to be a conviction there, a holy
Yes.
conviction of like, hey,
Mm.
it's time not to go back into the things that aren't meant for you, and
Yes.
go be the light that other people need to see. And guess what? You're probably going to get hate for it, because other people aren't going to understand, because
It's not
they don't
cool.
they don't
It's not
want to do that.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
it's
not
not.
trending at all. I can't even tell you how many times I am casting out demons out of my house on a regular basis. Like, I am taking that authority in his holy name. You are
Mm,
not welcome in this house. If there's a commercial that comes on the TV, I'm literally saying like no as the commercial is running, like no. Whatever is attached to this commercial, whatever is attached to this, you are not welcome in this house. Just know I bind and rebuke you. Get out. I
ooh,
just like that has never been in my life before this last year. Like, I've taken control of this household in his name,
come
and
on.
I'm aware the sensitivity that you said, like I am on it. There are times where I will wake up. This sounds kind of creepy, but I'll wake up in the middle of the night, be like, nope, I'm gonna get up real quick and I just pray, get out. You're not welcome here. This house, this family, this place is covered by the blood of Jesus. Get out.
Come on.
So I'm
Ooh,
just saying, I'm just
ooh,
saying,
ooh.
The Lord will bring it to you if you ask.
I love that. Yeah, one thing that I can't even remember where this, oh wait, it came from a friend of mine. She was talking about, like, you should take communion over that. And in church, like, I was just like, oh, just do it, that one Sunday or whatever. And then she's like, no, you can take communion whenever you want. I was like, didn't even think about it. Now I quite literally have crackers and grape juice, and I have a reminder on my phone where I take communion every single morning and plead the body and the body and the blood of Jesus over my home, over my business,
I
over
love it.
anybody I come in contact with. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, come on, like, we have that. And so
Mm-hmm.
the enemy can't have any room, but we're always giving him room,
Yeah.
because it's just normalized. And so I
Yeah.
love that you said that. Man, look at all this heat that's coming on the last
Mm,
couple minutes. It's like
I know. You
somebody
better have
needs
stayed
to
to the last minute
hear
of this episode.
the authority, though. Like, we all have this if we choose to press in. And we're not saying it's going to be a cakewalk. It wasn't
Mm,
for Jesus when he was here. Like, there was a lot of pain, a lot of suffering. But
yeah.
guess what? Like, people that choose to sit in the dark, they're always going to rebuke the light. And I love the fact that you said rebuke, because we use that phrase in Girl Power Alliance all the time. We even have merch that we're releasing that says, I rebuke that. Like, literally, you can walk around and just be like, and
Mm,
when it's for you, because it's like,
yeah.
we get to rebuke things that
Yeah.
are evil and not just tolerate it because we don't want to rock the boat. It's
Yeah.
like, no, that's not okay. And why do we keep thinking like somebody else is going to deal with that? You have the
Mm,
authority to deal with that and rebuke
mm,
it lovingly, but still rebuke it, because it doesn't have
yeah.
a place here.
Right. Get out. Kindly see yourself to the door.
Yeah. Bye. Oh my gosh, so good. Woo. Okay,
So
girl, come
good.
on now. You are
Yes.
amazing. Love that. Love you. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you. Love you so much. I appreciate you giving me the time on your podcast. I'm so excited for this episode to go out and just bless people the way that God intended it to. So thank you.
Well, I know I definitely been blessed. So thank you. And to everybody that's watching and listening, we'll see you next time.
Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this episode. It means the world to me that you would lean in, listen in, and be able to hear the value that's being shared on this show. Don't forget, if you love this episode, rate the show, leave me a review, be sure to share it with a friend, and don't forget to tag me on social media. I will definitely be giving you a shout out. Also, come say hi, drop in the DMs. I would love to be able to hear what stood out to you the most on the episode, and if there's any topics that you would like to hear on the show. We'll see you next time.